morning for you. Brandon paid me a king's ransom this morning to drink on my toilet for my locals. So I just had to keep it going here on the live. Keep it consistent throughout the day.
No, I'm not much of a drinker, but drinking on the toilet, that's not generally considered like a high point in success, right?
You know what though? Despite the fact that that's not a high point, it's still higher than where Disney's at right now.
But someone's paying you to do it. I guess that, yeah. Oh my goodness, Disney. I'll tell you, anyone who has an existing contract with Fox or any of these things that have been bought up by Disney, you need to get a third party in there right now to audit and get yours, because this is not the only story of Disney doing this.
I mean, like, look at this language here, and it's so clear. And like, you wouldn't say this. You would never say these things because this is very much essentially the equivalent of business defamation. It's like tortious interference with contract because they have a contract. You would never say these things unless you knew you could back them up with proof. So here's what look at what they say here. The auditors uncovered rampant self-dealing, the practice by which a studio enters into sweetheart deals with its licensee affiliates to artificially minimize the profit payments to stakeholders like TSG, who only share in the revenues received by the studio, excluding revenues received by the licensee exhibitor. So what this is look, if you and I entered an agreement, so I had an agreement with Jonas J. Campbell, and we are going to split 50-50 revenue. But I also have a separate entity called Andrew Esquire Limited, right? And I say, okay, well, Legal Mindset made $100 million, but I had to share $75 million with Andrew Esquire Limited. So therefore, we're only going to split $25 million between you and I. Right. That's what's going on here. That's what they're talking about when they talk about this, which is absolutely a shady business practice. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses do this. And I can even confirm indirectly that I've heard of stuff like this going on in the business world.
Right. And this is something that happens in corporate accounting worlds. When you have a large, especially a global operation, and you have to deal with different regulatory environments and make sure you're charging the right price across borders. When it's done right, there'll be these transfer pricing studies to where they are saying, well, it goes from one to the other. Therefore, these are all the reasons. Here is my tax substantiation. Here are all the reasons I'm justifying to all of these revenue services across the globe why I'm doing what I'm doing. I just think they made a big mistake by doing it with TSG here. They made a big mistake by thinking that no one would look into it, and then dealing with a company as large as TSG with as much sway in Hollywood as TSG. I'm not saying they're huge, but if you guys saw their logo, you would go, oh yeah, I've seen that on a lot of productions.
Yeah. Let me see if I pull it up real quick. I mean, you see that, and also like when you get into, let me see if I can find this. Maybe it'll take a while. There's actually a couple of TSGs. Unfortunately, there's a lot of TSGs.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. I'll send it to you.
You can screen share it. That'd be awesome. But it's going to have an effect for the other financiers, the other major financiers. These guys are not like a rinky-dink shop. These guys are a very, very large financing outfit. So a lot of the other ones in Hollywood are going to say, hey, wait a second. We're not making that much money on movies. Let's look back. And if we can file a suit against Disney or whoever else, and we can also claim a percentage, let's do that now. There's blood in the water. Let's go. So TSD is not that Star Wars girl, guys.
This is the one. If you see, it's
the axes. Yes.
Yes, that's from the Odyssey and the Iliad. It's supposed to be Odysseus shooting an arrow through all of these axe heads.
I've seen this before many times. Many times.
Yeah, it's a lot of Fox productions, and generally speaking, they've got pretty good taste in what is supposed to make money. So they're not messing around. They're not just out there financing whatever. So
no, and we looked at the earlier. We looked at the list here, and I'll scroll back up for a second. The list of the properties, and certainly, when I list these out: Avatar, The Way of Water, Bohemian Rhapsody, Deadpool 2, X-Men, Logan, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, The Martian, Grand Budapest Hotel, Jojo Rabbit, Banshees of Inisherin, Hidden Figures, Shape of Water, and Empire of Light. I mean, do you generally think successful films or failures?
Well, yeah. These are all movies that also there's a pretty good quality level here as well. These are actually good movies that tend to have commercial appeal. I mean, there's probably Avatar: The Way of Water. Paul Chatto mentioned the other day that movie, because of the way that Cameron made it, he gets a lot of leeway in how that all gets amortized across the 5 humongous films that he's making at the same time. That being said, eventually that series will make money, and TSG probably has a right of first refusal on any sequels going there after. But you'd know better than I would. You're the lawyer.
Yeah, no, I mean they often do have a right of first refusal. They do place those, and it's very common. However, I haven't seen the agreement, so I can't say, okay, there is a right of first refusal, but that would sound very standard. If it was me, I would write that in.
Well, there's a lot of chains here of all the X-Men movies, or all the the new Agatha Christie, Kenneth Branagh. They did Murder on the Orient Express, Death on the Nile, and now Haunting in Venice. They're involved in that. Whether or not they're just like, you gave us money last time, can you do that again?
Yeah, they just, and also if it's successful, they have no reason not to, right? And if they're being paid back, which is the key here, right? If they're being paid what they're owed, then they have no reason why not to lend more money. If they're making a return for their investors, why would they not do that? That just makes complete sense for them, right? And to continue to invest.
And let's say it's one of these situations, and maybe you covered this, and I'm just repeating you in a less intelligent way. If Disney decides to take Death on the Nile and put it on Disney Plus and say, oh, well, it made $100 million more because our streaming service paid $100 million. TSG is not getting that $100 million. That's Disney doing a journal entry to put it from one section of their company to another section of the company, and it gets zeroed out at the top end. But they get to say on that particular movie that it made $100 million more than it did.
Right. And they can plus it up because of that, right?
Right, like Black Adam is a great instance. It's not a Fox or a Disney property, but Black Adam technically made money within Warner Brothers, but that movie did not make money.
Technically, right? But then when you look at, you less out all the things you have to less out, like advertising, marketing, right? That's what we get into the numbers. So we're like, wait a second, these things aren't making money.
Yep.
So let's get into this. That when it transitioned to Disney, I wanted to skip to this part, which I think is very important. So in 2019, Fox was acquired by Disney. So here we enter the villains of the story. Shortly after, Disney's then CEO, Bob Chapek, announced that Disney would restructure to focus strategically on building value in its wholly and majority-owned SVOD platforms, such as Disney and Hulu. So essentially, they're streaming video on demand. SVOD is streaming video on demand. I don't know why they don't just say streaming. We all understand what streaming means.
Because they sound smarter when they use an acronym.
We're using an industry term.
Well, as with SVOD, AVOD, PVOD, although, AVOD is still streamed because it's advertising video on demand, and PVOD is premium video on demand. That video on demand aspect there is kind of secondary. And
okay, I was getting kind of concerned with PVOD, but yeah.
Or paid video on demand.
Okay. This is what Disney wants to make its most attractive content available for streaming on these platforms as soon as possible. And we saw this, right? We saw them wanting to push things to streaming ASAP to build those platforms. That was definitely, I think this is an accurate statement of their strategy. I mean, would you agree?
Yeah.
That they wanted to get things on Disney Plus and Hulu ASAP.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Especially in 2020, and then trying to get all of the pixie dust off their eyes from 2020 going so well for Disney Plus.
Yeah. Standing in the way of this strategy, however, was that Fox Films, including the films that they owed money on, the qualifying pictures, were contractually exclusive to HBO in the pay one window. So that's like the first showing window. And therefore cannot be offered on Disney Plus and Hulu without violating HBO's license. Undeterred, Disney ordered Fox, so it's now subsidiary, right, to renegotiate its contract and give up a significant portion of guaranteed HBO license fees in return for HBO agreeing that Fox could license these qualifying pictures to Disney Plus and Hulu. So they literally made them give up on guaranteed cash for the speculative belief that if they rush these to Disney Plus and Hulu, this is going to pump those platforms.
That is horrifying because Disney Plus is a graveyard right now for content.
And in terms of revenue, it's a revenue graveyard right? Like it's just a sinking ship. So you're trying to say like, okay, we're trying to give up real money. We're trying to give up money that is just guaranteed in the bank, in the pocket, which Disney would have had. So it can pump Disney Plus and it can say, look at how successful Disney Plus is, right? Because they're trying to go with momentum, I guess, right? The momentum of the 2020s and 2021 of COVID specifically.
I wonder at this point if all of the Avatar films will appear on Max at the same time that they appear on Disney Plus, because we were all confused over on our side as to why the Nielsen figures refused to separate Avatar between Max and Disney Plus. You could get the 4K on Max, by the way, if you're going to watch that one. I still haven't gotten around to it, but Disney Plus is exhausting. They have nothing on that streaming service, so of course they're going to be desperate to put anything they can to confuse you into thinking that Disney made a good movie.
Right. Exactly. So like to kind of glaze it over and say, no, it's great. It's great. And we made it, by the way, even though a lot of these movies were really Fox deals that were negotiated even prior to Disney. A lot of the
it's all Lightstorm. It's all James Cameron.
Right.
The Avatar is and all,
Avatar, yeah. And a lot of these other movies too, Disney had pretty minimal. The ones they mentioned, like Banshees of Inisherin or Shape of Water, I mean, they had nothing to do with that.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll add to that. Now there's the Pro had a confirmed scoop that Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are going to be in Secret War.
Oh God.
Because Disney's strategy right now is to try to confuse the audience into, oh, you remember those movies that you all hated before MCU came around? Well, we guarantee you it won't be like the MCU movies you're thinking of now. It'll be like those MCU movies those Marvel movies you remember from before we screwed it up.
Yeah,
it's a mess.
Yeah, that is a huge mess. So to continue here, Disney convinced HBO to waive its exclusivity and thus enable Disney Plus and Hulu to exhibit films concurrently with HBO. So there you go. So that was their agreement. We're allowed to stream them at the exact same time as HBO. Therefore, they wouldn't break up those numbers. On information and belief, renegotiating of that pay one output cost Fox millions of dollars that would otherwise have been reported to TSG as money owed to TSG. Remember, defined gross receipts means money owed to TSG. Therefore, furthermore, once the rights reverted to Fox, it entered into sweetheart deals with affiliates Disney Plus and Hulu. This deal did not even approach the tremendous value that Disney derived from exhibiting the films on its wholly owned streaming platforms. So the deals between Fox and Disney Plus were a joke. They did not pay out. So there was a self-dealing there between Disney and Fox because Disney owned Fox. So they just made it essentially a sweetheart deal to screw over TSG and the other financiers. As part of its renegotiation, Fox shortened its traditional home video window in order to more quickly make the films available on Disney Plus. Once again, Fox cannibalized and Disney cannibalized a key revenue stream.
Bob Iger seemingly confirmed that on the earnings call, by the way.
Yes, which is crazy. And all this talk on the earnings call of Avatar Way of Water. He was simping hard for Avatar Way of Water on that earnings call. It was like his one little ray of light, which really isn't even a Disney thing. It was so odd.
Right. And he got very close to claiming that that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 did really well, but all he could claim was 850 in global, which they didn't pull 850 million off of that one.
And then you subtract out the advertising, huge advertising for that one, huge marketing. Yeah, okay film. I thought of all the recent Marvel films I've seen, that was probably the best one, but still not profitable. I think because of what they're doing at large, and because no one cares about Marvel anymore. Right, they've made them not care.
And there's also a thing that I've had people that are like, well, okay, so this one is supposedly not woke. What's in it? And I said, well, I hear there's a lot of animal torture in it, and they go, okay, no, thank you,
I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a hard one. Darren Bennett says, when the rubber meets the road, Meatloaf song. Love Meatloaf. Ministry of Wrong Thing, since tortious interference. Yes. So they definitely have a tortious interference of contract claim. So yes, that is sort of like, it's almost like business defamation, I call it. Like, it's almost the same way. It's when you do something knowingly and it's going to damage an existing contract. It's like when you almost with defamation, you say something knowing it's not true. Like you call somebody a criminal, or you say they have a disease that you know they don't have. That's defamatory. That's per se defamatory. Or for example, if someone's a lawyer and you say they're not a lawyer, yeah, that's defamation as well. Like that's defamation in that sense. In the business sense, when you have a contract, you know you have a contract, and you do something to undermine that, that's tortious interference. This video has been a clip of a previous live stream, and it's clipped so you can get the information in a shorter, compact package, the information you need. If you want the full video, the whole context, the whole thing, you can check out the full stream that is in the link below. Check that out, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.